World Championship victory to my father was everything. He decided he was going to win it when he was 17 or 18 years old. When he watched his first motor race, he came home and said to his parents, Mum and Dad, I'm not going to be a doctor, I'm afraid I'm going to be a racing driver, and I'm going to be a world champion. Imagine winning that was a dream come true.
40 years ago, one of the most charismatic Formula One drivers of all time won the World Championship.
Dad and Nicky had a great relationship as friends right from the early stage of racing. I think they met in Formula 3, and they were good friends, and they were very competitive with one another throughout their whole racing career up until Formula 1. But their rivalry during the 76 season, I think it made both of them drive better and harder than they would have done. Before the Japanese Grand Prix, I can only try and imagine how he felt, but we all know he's a secret. He suffered from extreme nerves before any race. I think mostly those nerves were due to fear, of hurting himself rather than, pressure. But I imagine that race, he was probably having to work very hard to keep championship out of his mind. He had just very much to focus on the race. But also fear would have been huge because the conditions were so bad. It was so wet, there was rivers running across the track. So I imagine that would have been the majority of his focus. Would have been, trying to stay alive. That was a hell of a chassis. It was one of the most successful chassis McLaren have ever made in terms of longevity. I think it ran for 5 seasons. So I'm sure Dad was very happy with that chassis as well. Yeah, when I drove the M23, it was such an amazing experience. And I'd driven the Heskeths before, never a McLaren. And unfortunately, it was only 3 or 4 laps behind the safety car. Couldn't get to enjoy it properly. I would kill to have the day testing on my own in that car so I can really get to know it properly. But it was, nonetheless, it was a very emotional and special experience. First started racing, stepping into his shoes, as it were, following his footprints. It was overwhelming originally with the media attention, the cameras, because I'd never had a camera pointed at me before. I was just a country boy, riding horses, and was never anything special. And unfortunately, the first couple of years of my career, it showed on track. I used to buckle under the pressure. But growing up, I think now, I have matured a lot, and I can deal with it better. The pressure's still there, of course, but now I have the tools to deal with it better. What made Dad so great? Well, as a driver, I think it was his sheer determination, his courage. I think what made him great as a person, he was determined to be himself, and be his own way, and do it his own way. One example is the McLaren contract. When they were discussing the contract, they wanted him to wear a suit and a tie, and he said, "Well, you can take that out of the contract right now." Why people loved him so much, because he was a non-conformist. I was so proud of him for what he did and how he did it. Throughout his whole career, since a teenager, he was always hunting for victory.
Hunting for Victory by Unique and Limited.